What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Kai, and I am back with another video. Amen. Look, listen. Today is a brand new day, 9/19/25, and as you can see, it's a new setup. Definitely trying something different. I've been taking my ashwagandha. I think honestly, just real quick, right? I think honestly, that's gonna be my self-medication. Is my ashwagandha, because I'm telling you, I think I actually have ADHD. My first therapist as an adult, second therapist as an adult, told me that I have ADHD. But he never actually diagnosed me with it, or, gave me medication or a prescription or anything like that. He was just like, I'm pretty sure you have ADHD. And I kind of denied it because I always thought ADHD was like you bouncing off the walls, you can't function, you know what I'm saying? Your mind go here, go there, which is, yeah. But you start tasks and you can't complete it sometimes. But the older that I've gotten, and the more that I've allowed myself to live beyond the confines of a mask, I've noticed you might just have ADHD. Because when I'm unmasked, when I'm, even because I used to mask with myself as well. When I'm unmasked, I don't know how to function. I can't function. And I'm just like, me, a mental illness? Yeah, depression, yeah, anxiety, but ADHD just sounds like a death sentence. But I'm mature and I understand that's not the truth. I know plenty of people that have ADHD and that, take medication or self-medicate with that ganja, which I don't advise at all. But yeah, I think that I'm going to self-medicate myself with ashwagandha, because when I was using it before, that's when the transformation of my life really started. This last cycle is when I was being consistent with that, being consistent with what I put in my body. And when I say put in my body, I mean the music I was listening to, the food I was eating. I was just very conscious, but I was also taking the ashwagandha, which centered my emotions and my mental. So I'm sure there's a reason for that. But yeah, I am on my second day of taking my ashwagandha. I have a powder substance, and I have a little spoon that I just put in there. So I'll take a little bit, probably half a spoon or whatever. And yeah, I'll take my ashwagandha. Yesterday was my first day back. I double dosed myself really because with my, what is it called? Creatine. With the creatine, it says that you need to give yourself more to start the process and then start to ration it out. So that's what I'm doing with the ashwagandha. One thing I have heard about it, which kind of concerns me, is that, if you take it regularly, if you take it every day, it can decrease the effects. So I'm finding, and if anybody out there knows of any ways, I'm trying to find a way to prohibit that, or to work around that, or work alongside with it. Okay, if I start to notice after 2 weeks of using it consistently that my emotions start to get heightened again, I start to get anxious again, my mind is not able to center or focus again, then okay, maybe we should not be on it for a couple days. Let myself, not get used to it, let it run through my body, let it get completely out of my system, and then we double dose and start the process over again. And I think it's just gonna have to be like that gradually. That's my assumption now. When I first started taking it, I didn't really pay that much attention. I thought it was working fine, but I do notice the beginning of this year is when I really started to feel honestly, December, around December, I really start to feel very agitated and aggravated. And I just always thought, okay, this is, myself coming out. We're doing shadow work, or, and yes, it was that, but it also could have been because of prescription was wearing off. So we're going to just be more mindful of that, take note of it, and I'll keep you guys updated on what that looks like. But actually today, is a new type of video. I have created a spreadsheet of the type of video and content that I want to push out to you guys, because I do want things to be more consistent. I want you guys to be able to trust that I am here. I want you guys to be able to see my face as often as possible. For more reasons than I'm just cute, because we kind of get that already. But I want to let you guys into my head a little bit more, and not just in the way of me giving you guys information, but also just sharing my life, which is what I used to do. If you go back to some of my videos in the beginning, that was something I was really passionate about, was just creating content, just like making stuff. On other channels, I was just very passionate about making stuff. So today's video is me sharing a few pieces of writing. And these are more recent writings, so they may not be as interesting or as creative as some of my older writings. I do want to give a background really quick on my writing history. So my entire life, I've been a writer. My mom is a published author. I will put her book up here as well. So if you want to support her, I would greatly appreciate it. She would greatly appreciate it. But my mom is an author. She's been a writer her entire life. She has so many books that she does not have published, because it's kind of hard to make it as an artist. It's kind of hard to, especially in the era that she grew up in, it's kind of hard to focus on your writing, your passion, and also be an adult. So I grew up being exposed to a creative spirit. I remember distinctively, my mom had this house on Rainbow Drive on the northeast side of San Antonio, Texas, and she would write her poetry on the walls. And I remember she gave me my own wall to write my poetry, and it was this poem called Eternity. And I really should find that poem, because that was the poem I was the most proud of. I was the most proud of. It was also like, what does some of this mean? And it was really like, are people going to understand what I'm trying to say by this? But yeah, she let me write my poem on the wall, that when you first walked in, so let's say you first walk inside, and of course there's the door, right? So when the door opens, it's that wall where the door opens. It was a big old wall. She let me write my poem right there on the wall. Yeah, creative. Like, there's just creativity, and I love it. So yeah, that is something that I hold dear to myself. I also remember, like, I would just write. I would write poems. I would write short stories. I would write scripts and stuff like that. I grew up in an era where kids didn't have phones. We barely had access to computers, and if we did, it was a desktop that you had to, you know what I'm saying, be on around other people, or share with other people. We didn't have phones, iPads, tablets. We didn't have none of that stuff. I didn't get my first like sidekick till I was like high school, into freshman year. So, and my first phone I didn't get until I was a sophomore. Till I was a freshman. And it was an Obama phone. So, anyways, there is like, yeah, there was no time to be distracted. So I would write, and like I said, I would write all types of things. I also remember, like, when I was in school, I remember specifically being in history class at Roosevelt High School, Lord have mercy. And I would, like, people would be talking, because we was bad. Northeast side of San Antonio, Texas, we was just bad. Like, everybody was bad. We was not paying attention, especially in the history class. And we got an old white man. Like, we're not paying attention. So people would be talking or whatever, and it'll be certain days, people would be talking whatever. And I would just grab a word that somebody said, and I would write a poem based on that word. Or like a phrase, or like a certain person. Like, I would just take that and I would just write a poem. I remember when I went to George Gervin Academy, I believe I was in my sophomore year, and the assignment was to write a poetry book. And I was like, I got this. It's going to be the easiest grade in the world. Wrote my poetry book. I wish I still had it, bruh, but wrote my poetry book. And my teacher was like, you should really have this published. Like, let me help you have it published. And me not being that kid, like, I'm just like, I just write. Like, I just write. Like, what? This is not even nothing. Like, you think it's cool because you didn't expect me to come up with something like this. Yeah, I just have a lot of experiences of writing. And then once I got older, I started to perform spoken word at competitions, for churches. I was in my era of deep Christianity, so I would write Christian poems because that's what I was fully involved in at the time. And I would perform at churches and things like that, and like coffee shops and events. And I really miss that life. Like, I truly do. However, coupled with the fact that I don't identify myself as being Christian, as well as just having to be an adult and figure out life, and having to be a being and figure out existence, those things kind of, and then also relationship after relationship. I tell you, when I wasn't in relationships, when I was Christian and I was celibate, I I mean, things were so different. I had so much more time, so much more space, so much more mind. Like, things were, I wouldn't say they were peaceful 100% of the time, maybe even not 75% of the time, because I still have my own mental issues. But I just was able to just live more. So yeah, that is that. So yeah, I have a poem ready for you guys. Like I said, it's not as creative, but it is me just stepping back into it. I remember, I believe it was a video that I had watched, and they were talking about just allow it to be trash, allow it to suck, just let it be terrible, but at least you're doing something. So, based off of that, I wrote this poem, and for some reason, I called it In It. So, here we go. Allow it to be shit. Allow it to be trash. Allow it to stink, reek. Allow all your friends and family to laugh. Allow the proximity to shrink, for open palms to close up, and something you say to be thrown up. Allow it to be a mistake. After all, none of this will matter anyway. Permission purpose barefoot through the Sahara sand. Allow stumble to exhale, and intrigue to question the fall of man. Allow sight to lose hope, and your stone to wither away. Let sockets huddle discuss, and permission them to stay stuck that way. Allow hearts to spill and carpet floors. Allow drinks to fly and hits to soar. Allow anyone's assumption and ask for nothing more. Allow grace to fill voids and peace to release holds. Let shit be hard, so let shit be spoke. May words be the avenue of my own righteous appeal, and may I never lack the strength of the Messiah's mule. May I take the heat with stride, laying aside pride to embrace a chance to grow. May I breathe in pain, because with pain comes honor, like a warrior returning from row. May I never cower and hide from necessary afflictions of life. And even when you've reached your flow, meditative, operating in your zone, continue to allow tens to fly and tens to slam. Let tempers rise and even land. Allow your blood to shed on mountain peaks, for jitters to flutter and nouns to leave. Allow the day to end on a failed attempt, resting in tomorrow's chance to try again. So that was In It. And I want to say I wrote this when it comes to me and my writings, right? Especially once I got to the stage of wanting to refine my art a lot more. I would use my phone at that point. I would use my phone and I would just write. I would just mindlessly write something. And then I would go back and I would edit that something. And then I would go back again and I would edit again. And then I would remember and then I would revise. And so it was just always this process of doing and getting better and knowing what I'm doing and then getting better. And honestly, maybe that's something that I should lean into now, is that process of it not having to be perfect the first time, because when we focus on something being perfect the first time we do it, we end up never doing it. Or we end up taking way longer to do it because we have this high expectation on how it should look. When honestly, you have way more time than you give yourself credit for. You have way more time than you even realize. I'm not sure when it started, but for some reason, people around my age, which I'm 28 years old, people around my age just feel like they have to get up and go and get up and go and get up and go, and there's no time to do anything. There's no time to do anything. It's like I'm wasting my life away. I'm so far behind. And if they're not in that era, it's just like, what's the point of trying anyway? I'm almost 30. Like, there's no point of even, like, whatever. I'm just going to smoke my weed, or I'm just going to go to parties. Like, it's always like one or the other, because I don't know. I don't know why. I've just noticed that with like people that I know personally. And since there's so many other people out there in the world, I can't say that that's just how it is, but that's how it is in the circle of people that I know. So, if anything, stay encouraged, bruh, to just let things happen, to get on your ashwagandha, and to get back into your creative flow. Let it be shit. Peace.